put a fighter in your corner.
And welcome once again to the Walton Law Firm show. And it's always a pleasure that you've taken the time out to join us. And it's a pleasure that you've taken the time out to come up and do your own show, which you had a couple of shout outs this week. I forgot, and people were mentioning about the show. And I had to tell the lady that, you know, we say we fuss and fight, but we don't. But I'm like, it's his show, but he tries to say it's my show.
It's his show.
She was like, yeah, it's his show. I agree with you. So she agreed with me. Man, how are you, man? You looking like you ready to take your school pictures today.
I feel like I'm a guest on the Kevin Dunn show. I'm dressed up. I actually look like a lawyer today, don't I? Or maybe an Easter egg. A little colorful.
Those are some nice spring colors.
How about those socks?
Hey, I might can borrow those.
Yeah, you know, there's not a color you won't have in the sock.
Who dresses you, man? You do this yourself?
Well, I did a little early this morning, so I got a little confused. That's why it was so colorful.
Okay, all right.
I got in the car and was on my way to court, and out of town I looked in the mirror and I said, oh my Lord, I have overdone it today.
You've overdone it. But,
you know, what the heck.
Well, hey, you look good.
I feel good. I feel good.
Well, you always gonna feel good. That's the nature of our show and why we do these motivational pieces. You always gonna feel good, and that's good. But when you look good and feel good,
you don't get no better than that.
Don't get no better than that.
No.
It doesn't get any gooder than that.
That's exactly right.
So, man, you're doing wonderful.
I'm doing good.
Okay.
Doing good. I started with a new personal trainer yesterday, which I ain't used a personal trainer in my life. But my workouts were getting sort of stale, so I brought the guy in, so it was good.
Okay.
He's from Chicago, moved down here about a year ago, and he's good. He knows his stuff. So
how often do you plan on seeing him?
Probably start out about 3 times a week, and then ease back into 2 times a week, then do my own stuff in between.
Okay.
So, you know, just sort of I need to be progressing more.
Okay.
And not hurt myself.
How do you know you need to be progressing more? That may be a crazy question, but how did you know?
You just have to have a feel for it.
Oh, feel for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I met him through my girlfriend. She was his trainer, and I got to talk, went out to eat with him a couple of times. I figured out from talking to him that he knew his stuff. So I said, you know, what the heck? I'll give it a go.
Okay.
Give it a go.
All right.
Get in about 10 or 15 sessions with him and see if I make any progress.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Once again, we touch on this every now and then, but just in case people are seeing your handsome self for the first time, and they say, that's a lawyer up there, what does he do?
That's a little billboard lawyer.
Yeah, billboard lawyer.
What do we do?
What'd you do?
We do personal injury, wrongful death, primarily dealing with car wrecks and truck wrecks, cars and trucks, or trucks and trucks. That's what we do primarily, although we do a little bit of everything. We do criminal work in Alabama only, not in Georgia, because we just got too much going in Alabama. We do dog bite cases, because that's a personal injury. We've got some pretty bad dog bite cases going right now. And that's what we do. If you're injured and you think somebody else has caused it, that's what we do.
And not to mention, very successful at it.
Well, we've been fortunate.
Been fortunate.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. And so it'd be great if you could get more cases so you can retire soon. You plan on retiring?
I don't plan on retiring.
You don't plan on retiring?
I don't know what I would do.
I think we talked about that once before.
I may go back to fishing, but I just can't imagine doing nothing but fishing.
Okay.
And I enjoy work. It sort of is my hobby. And now that I put the gym in at the office, my other hobby is right there in the same building, so it works out good for me.
You look like the type of guy, when you fish, you throw them back. So if you ever get fishing in the hobby and you catch them 8, 9 pound bass, you call me and I'll come pick them up.
I do throw most of the big ones back.
I figured that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I knew that, but.
You know, that 15-pound bass I caught a couple of years ago, we were taking pictures of it in the boat, and then it went to twist it, and it almost broke my wrist, and it went on back in on its own.
Okay.
Thank goodness we had taken photographs of it, because I would have really been upset had I not at least had a photograph.
Okay. All right. All that work.
Yeah.
All that work. Mother's Day just passed this past weekend.
Mother's Day was kind of sad for me, because Mama was here last Mother's Day, and then she died in July.
Okay.
So it was different, but we survived it.
Okay.
And I met my girlfriend. I took my girlfriend's parents out to eat Friday night, so
parents out.
that was fun.
Oh, parents.
She's 84 and he's 87, so but it was a lot of fun. She was very humorous, and he told some funny old stories, and it was fun.
Okay.
They came in for their granddaughter's graduation at Auburn.
Okay.
You know, we had a big 4,500 people graduated.
4,500 people.
That's amazing. That's a lot of empty apartments down there now. Of course, they're going to fill right back up.
Right.
But some will be nice. They'll be sort of vacant. And like going out to eat last night was fun because you could park downtown without a problem.
Yeah, that is good.
You know, those of us that live there, we love the children that come in to go to school there, and it makes it a lot of fun there. But it sure is nice sometimes when they leave for 2 or 3 weeks, because you get to, all of a sudden you see buildings you hadn't seen. You start paying attention.
Wow,
But it's
4,500 people.
4,500 people graduated.
And they don't give those degrees away easily.
They're expensive, and you got to keep your
expensive.
grades up. You know, I probably wouldn't get in college if I had to do it all over again. So
Yeah,
I'm glad I don't have to.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
You know, because I think you have to take math now, maybe a little chemistry, maybe a little psychology. You have to take a lot of stuff that I just didn't take.
Well, I took the chemistry, but
I didn't take no chemistry.
yeah.
I think I had one math course at Auburn that was adding and subtracting.
Okay.
And one of the coaches came up to me in practice, asked me how I was doing. I said, well, math's getting a little bit difficult. So next time I went into class, the professor said, is Mr. Walton here today? I said, he said, we're going to get back to add and subtract if you don't mind. The other classmates wanted to branch out a little bit, but we'll get back to add and subtracting. So then I went and told Coach Barfield, I said, you told on me, didn't you? He said, well, I just mentioned it.
I just mentioned it.
I was trying to help you out. I said, well, he spotted me out in front of everybody in the class.
Wow. Got a couple of shout-outs to some valedictorians, salutatorians, and all that good stuff.
Yes, valedictorian Bobby Moore at Lynette High School for 2022. That's the top of the pyramid for scholastics.
Yes, it
He
is.
made it. And he's already attending college, so that's great. Then Chambers Academy Ty Trammell has committed to playing college football at Faulkner University.
Okay.
One of my lawyers, Catherine Munka's son, played there for 4 years. He enjoyed it.
Where's Faulkner?
Faulkner's in Montgomery.
Montgomery. Okay.
And they have a law school too.
Okay.
Sometimes people refer to it as Jones, but it's Faulkner University.
Okay.
It's a good school.
Okay.
Now, the City of LaGrange Animal Shelter is offering half-price adoptions for dogs and puppies through May the 31st. So, the shelter is experiencing overcrowding and is currently at capacity. They have 100 dogs and puppies up for adoption right this second.
Right now.
The LaGrange Animal Service Building is located at 1390 Orchard Hill Road, LaGrange, or you can reach them at 706-298-3606. Or you can go on Facebook and check them out.
Check them out.
And they will also accept donations of old towels and puppy food, canned puppy food.
Okay.
So that's good.
Canned puppy food.
You wonder where I get this stuff, don't you? Oh, Lord, here's a motivational I got to read. It's too long. It's long.
It's long.
One morning,
One morning.
an elderly man was walking down the beach when he noticed a young boy picking up something off the sand and throwing it back in the sea. Yeah. He got closer. The man realized the child was throwing stranded starfish. My paper says starfishes.
Fishes. I saw that.
But I'm going to go with starfish.
Yes, because we were taught not to say fishes and deers and geeses.
Right.
Yeah.
But the cat was throwing starfish back into the waves. And the man asked, what in the world are you doing?
What are you doing?
What
boy?
in the world are you doing? And he said, the starfish will die if they're still on the shore when the sun rises. Well, perplexed, the old man said, but that's pointless.
Okay.
There are countless miles of beach, thousands of starfish. It doesn't matter how many you return to the water. You can't make a difference. Unfazed, the boy bent down, picked up another starfish, and tossed it into the sea and said, it matters to this one.
Okay.
Good point.
Okay.
And the moral of the story, no matter the odds of success or the scale of the challenge, your actions can make the difference. It's better to light a candle than curse the dark. Every little thing counts. Doing something to make a positive change is always better than nothing. So, whatever you're doing, give it 100%, 110%. You might find that you're successful.
You might just find it out.
You might.
Instead of wavering, talking about it's too hard, just
Get on with it.
like Nike, just act like a tennis shoe and just do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it and all that good stuff. All right. It's time for our viewer questions. And I know we say this redundantly, but we appreciate the questions coming in.
I love the questions.
And Just keep them coming.
The questions keep us from boring everybody to death.
Oh. Well, Trip, there's nothing boring about you.
Yep.
All right. Okay, all right.
No comment.
No comment. Okay. So here's hey April. This question is from Lorna T. Lorna T. I enjoy watching your programming on BTV. I live on the backwaters, and it's been a joy watching your journey. I have a question for my favorite show. See that I told you, favorite show,
That's
the Trip
nice.
Walton Show, and
That's
this
nice.
might be touchy, but here it goes.
Ooh,
First, I already know that he is a personal injury lawyer.
that gets limits.
It gives limits. Take it to the limit one more time. But can he break down the Roe versus Wade saga that's going on? Can the states make up their own laws and override the Supreme Court? The person who leaked the documents, can they face criminal charges? I hope.
It's some heavy duty.
Y'all get my question. There's some heavy stuff there in it.
First, can the states make up their own laws and override the Supreme Court? Well, the states certainly can make their laws. The law that went up to the Supreme Court on this occasion that may have overturned Roe v. Wade was a abortion law out of the state of Mississippi.
Okay.
They passed a new law, and before it ever went into effect in 2018, they got sued by an abortion clinic. There's only one abortion clinic in the whole state of Mississippi. So they sued them, and it went up to the Supreme Court and sort of sat around on the docket a while until they had a majority conservative court. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, apparently, it gets pulled up for argument, and they argued it. And of course, we know that the opinion was leaked, which has never happened before in the history of the courts and the history of the United States. Mm-hmm. Now, if the Roe v. Wade court, or this court, overturns Roe v. Wade, what that does is it does away with the constitutional right of a woman to have an abortion. Mm-hmm. So it sends everything back down to the state, and each of the 50 some odd states, I'm still not sure how many states we got.
We have 52, I think.
How many of them?
I don't either. Yeah.
But how many of them we got can do their own laws.
Okay.
And since it won't be a constitutional question, it wouldn't go back up to the Supreme Court. Because, so it's going to, you could have 50 different states with 50 different rules. Now, one thing that's very interesting is approximately 17 states have what they call trigger laws. And what this means is, for instance, Texas, within 30 days of Roe v. Wade being overturned by the United States Supreme Court, within 30 days in the state of Texas, all abortions are illegal. And if you do an abortion, you can do life in the penitentiary, not to mention lose your medical license because you're going to be in the penitentiary anyway.
Right.
Now, Texas has also gone another step, and they've done a new law about abortions where they incentivize individuals out there to bring lawsuits against people that do abortions or having abortions.
My.
So it's not the government doing it. It could be, I don't know who would do that, who's got the money and the time and whatnot. I'm sure organizations that are on this side and that side would be doing that. Mm-hmm. So that's a very heavy-duty question. It's very interesting right now what's going on because if they do reverse Roe v. Wade, that's almost 50 years of precedent. And I'll tell you something else that's interesting. I was watching a show the other day, and they showed some of the judges, or justices, I guess I should say, during their confirmation hearings, and they asked them where they stood on Roe v. Wade, and they clearly said there is firm precedent here. There won't be no change in Roe v. Wade.
There won't be no change.
Now, the question is now, did they commit perjury in front of Congress? Or did they just change their mind? I don't know. It's just an interesting question.
Right.
Like all laws, an interesting question.
Right.
Now, the person who leaked the documents, can they face criminal charges? Yes and no. Mm-hmm. There is no law. In other words, leaking a draft court opinion is not a crime in itself. Unlike classified information, a draft legal opinion is not protected from disclosure under penalty of law. Mm-hmm. It's not, that's the big thing there, it's not classified. Okay. Most leaking lawsuits and prosecutions come from somebody leaking a classified document. Now, if somebody was unauthorized to have it, in other words, somebody hacked into the Supreme Court's computers and basically stole it, and they're not a justice, they're not a clerk, they're not somebody who have eyes on it, that could be a theft of government property or just a violation of coming into their computers. Another interesting thing is, even sometimes when something is not against the law but is investigated by the FBI, if you lie to the FBI, you have committed a crime.
Right.
So first thing you need to do is keep your mouth shut and take your Fifth Amendment right to keep your mouth shut. Mm-hmm. But if you engage in running your mouth and you lie, and it's later found out by the FBI that you lied, even if there's no crime, you have committed a crime in lying.
Okay.
So that's a backdoor way of getting you.
Okay.
Let's see. What else I got on this? That sort of covers it.
Okay.
Technically, there's no written law out there that allows them to prosecute them.
Okay.
So it's going to be, I can assure you that they're investigating it. I saw some commentators recently that said the Supreme Court's really not set up to investigate this kind of stuff, even though they have security. That's why they probably will bring in the FBI. There again, you get into the line, scares everybody to death. Do I talk or keep my mouth shut? Another thing, if it's a lawyer, say if it's a justice who leaked it, which would be unbelievable. Let's just say it is. Mm-hmm. He or she could be impeached by a vote of the Congress. I think it takes a 2/3 vote. He or she could lose their law license. If a law clerk did it that had access to it, they would clearly probably lose their law license from wherever they're licensed and not have a law practice career.
Wow.
But what they would do is they'd have a book deal, they'd have a movie deal, and they would go down in history as the person who swung the bat one way or the other in favor of or against the abortion stuff. So anyway, it's very interesting stuff. It ain't going away.
Nope.
It's going to gear up. I've heard commentators say that the Republicans leaked it because of this. I've heard people say that the Democrats leaked it because of that. It makes sense. Both the arguments make sense of why somebody would want to leak it. But it should not have been leaked.
True.
So
Okay.
everybody can agree on that. That's one thing we most agree on is it shouldn't be leaked. But anyway, that's a great question.
All right.
And it's a heavy-duty question.
Yes, it
and
is.
I hope I answered it to...
You did very well, Tripp. If I was your teacher in school, I would give you an A+.
There you go.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Okay. All right.
That's why you're my host.
All right. Next question from Susan L. from Valley, Alabama. She says, recently I've been seeing Tripp's billboards around the Valley area. I noticed that he's the $15 million lawyer, which is awesome. And what I'm most impressed about is even though he is a high-powered attorney, see, I told you, he is putting his money back into the community. I have attended events where I saw that he sponsored the rodeo, the girls' ranch, women in business, Miss April's events at the schools, and I want him to know that it's great to see him giving back to the community. The Valley area appreciates it.
People don't always say nice things about trial lawyers. That's very nice. When my writer came in my office the other day and said, listen to this question, I looked at her, I said, did you phone that in? Is this a plant? She said, no, it's not a plant. So I came here this morning, I asked April, I said, April, did you phone that in? She said, no, it's a real listener out there. I said, well, that's wonderful. I'm happy about that.
That's good. It is good.
I'm all that people would take that much time to pay attention to what we do. So that's really good.
It is. And I applaud you well. Keep on doing what you're doing.
And hopefully we can keep on doing it.
Exactly.
And this next one.
Yeah, you want to handle that one? Or you want me to?
I'll do it.
That one.
I know you take questions for the Tripp Walton Show, and I know that it's late Sunday, and this is Sunday Mother's Day.
Okay.
And I hope I'm not too late to submit a question for the show. Question. Can I sue my grown children for not getting me what I wanted for Mother's Day? Laugh out loud. I wanted a new purse, and they gave me new pots and pans to cook them more Sunday dinners. Ask Tripp and Kevin, what can I do? Signed, Mama Not Cooking. I think we ought to take Mama out to dinner. I would strike, march, protest. Since we see it on TV, you can do it at the house. Don't even open the pots and pans.
Don't even open them.
Put them back in the box. Put them in the den where everybody can see them in the box.
That reminds me of and I didn't watch this show much. I don't even know how I caught this part. But the old Simpsons, it reminds me of that time when it was Madge's birthday, and Homer was a bowler, right?
Yeah.
He bought Madge a bowling ball for her birthday. It's one of them type deals.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So no suing on that.
No,
that probably won't work.
No, I just protest by going on strike, not cooking for a while.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Maybe donate the cookware to a friend.
Exactly. What's going on in some Alabama news?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, the Alabama Department of Health employee, Jacqueline Beard, was mauled to death by a pack of dogs. Who ever heard of such? And the reason she went out to investigate it is because the same pack of dogs apparently had jumped on some other woman and bit her up badly. So they send her out to investigate, and they kill her. The dogs kill her.
Oh, God.
The dog owner was arrested for manslaughter. In fact, the dog owner called my office for me to represent her, and I had to step aside because it's way up in north corner of Alabama, and I don't go up there. But I'm sure she'll get somebody to represent her. Now, this is interesting. They're going to have to table the $10,000 reward being offered by the U.S. Marshals for the missing correction officer Vikki White and inmate Casey White.
Okay.
And everybody, except those of us who don't watch TV, know that these two took off from a county jail up in North Alabama and have been on the run for 11 or 12 days. The reason the reward is no longer valid is because she's dead and he's back in jail. For some reason, these numbskulls went to Evansville, Indiana, and stayed from May the 3rd until yesterday when they were spotted at the car wash again.
Now, both of them spotted at the car wash or just
the big guy?
Just the big guy.
Yeah.
Just the big guy. Okay.
The big guy was spotted at the car wash, and so they called it in. They followed him to the hotel. They saw her wearing a dark wig. She's blonde. She had on a black-headed wig.
So they got that right.
So they sat out there and watched him, and then when they took off, they got into a high-speed chase, and they rolled the car. It tore the car all to pieces. And then when he was getting out, he says, you know, my wife, which she wasn't his wife, unless they got married in the meantime.
Okay.
Maybe that's why they were never, maybe they're on their honeymoon. But he got out and said, my wife shot herself. I didn't shoot her. And
during the high-speed chase?
Right after it, when he came out of the car, he's saying that, coming out of the car. It's my understanding from my sources.
I got to watch some news when I get home.
You got to watch the news. See, I got at 4 o'clock this morning to watch the news just to make sure.
Okay.
I didn't intend on getting up at 4, but
right.
For some reason I was up. So anyway, very interesting, and it's come to an end. And the sheriff up there, who apparently knew Vikki, just like any sheriff knows most of his employees and knows them all their lives, he says they still can't figure it out. He said it's just a weird thing, and they never will figure out what happened to her, why she ran off with this guy. But apparently they might have been sweethearts, and there you have it.
What you think about those tattoos the guy had on him when they showed those tattoos?
Some nasty tattoos.
Yeah,
It's kind of scary. He was a white supremacist.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had one tickle on the back of his neck, back of his head to make you think that, believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a Confederate battle flag on there.
You did.
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway.
It's a dead giveaway. Wow. Okay.
That's just amazing. An amazing story comes to an end. They had really not even 15 minutes of fame, and she's dead, and he's back in jail, and all that. Nothing matters anymore.
I guess the news media just pick and choose.
Yeah, they
what
pick
want.
what's sort of exciting.
So
it's intriguing to people, you know, watching her walking right out of the county jail and saying she's taking him to a psych exam. There was no psych exam.
Okay.
And the fact that they got as far as they did, I mean, just to get to Evansville, but I looked at some of the commentators this morning about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Law enforcement, they said, quite frankly, they had plenty of cash. She had sold her home up there in North Alabama under value, but she had a ton of cash, $30,000 cash. So they bought 2 or 3 cars and swapped and dropped cars, and had they kept going, I mean, I don't know if they could have gotten across the border into Canada. They'd have been a lot better off going down south, I would think, to get across the border into Mexico. But the Canadians take a dim view of people coming up there that are running from the law.
Okay.
But it's just amazing that they lasted as long as they did. And why? And like I say, all the commentators, not all of them, but some of them said this morning, had they not stopped, there's no telling how far they could have gotten or where they could have gotten.
Exactly.
They could have got on a plane and been in Europe. I mean, you know, at one time they were thinking they probably had already left the country. But they were sitting around Evansville, Indiana, having a big time.
Okay.
And that's where they're going to bury her, I guess. Well, I guess they bring her back to Alabama, but it's just pitiful.
Pitiful, yeah.
Just pitiful.
Okay. All right. Well, we got about 3 minutes left. You give us a little insight on some Georgia news right there. Alabama.
Well, I tell you what, Governor Kemp went off on a signing spree on a bunch of new criminal laws. First thing they did was they gave the Attorney General stronger gang prosecution power. Includes a new gang prosecution task force.
Okay.
And I guess gangs are a big problem in the big cities in Georgia.
Yes.
I'm assuming the Atlanta area and other places. They added charges for sex offenders for each image of child pornography. When it used to, you know, you'd have, I've represented some of them, they have 3,500 images. Well, there's one charge of possession of child pornography. Now it'll be 3,500 charges if they want to do that.
Wow.
It's weird stuff.
Right, right.
Also, they're going to restrict social media use for high-risk offenders. That would be people who just can't stop being a pedophile or looking at young children. And the stuff is free on the internet. You can get it from different countries. But when you download it, you got possession of it, and that's illegal. And you can be put in the penitentiary for a long, long time just for downloading it. Right. Not printing it out and holding on to it. I mean, just pulling it down from the internet and looking at it on your computer screen.
Okay.
So when you find you're looking at something that ain't right, you might want to move on pretty dadgum quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Found out.
Let's see. Kemp also signed legislation that increases penalties for criminals fleeing officers. They're trying to stop people from running. Apparently that's a big thing these days. High-speed chases are dangerous for everybody. And also the bill raises fines and sentencing minimums and makes a fourth offense an automatic felony on running from the police or trying to elude and stuff like that.
Okay.
And one bill included adding charges for each possession of a firearm as a separate offense for each weapon. Again, if you got 40 guns, it used to be possession of, you know, whatever. Now it could be 40 charges.
Okay.
So maybe a little bit overkill, but that's not my business. That's not what I do. That's what they do.
That's what you do. All right. We got 1 minute left.
They tell me that I should say our main office is located at 1710 Catherine Court, Suite B, to make sure we don't violate any something or other. I don't know what it is.
Look at that laugh I got. But anyway, it sounds wicked. Well, we appreciate you watching the show. Catherine has a birthday today, right?
I don't know.
Catherine Walton?
Yeah,
Yes,
she does.
Uh-huh.
Yes, she does.
All right.
Yeah, there's a surprise party tonight in Nashville. I don't think I'm going to be able to make
You're
it.
probably not going to
My
do it.
helicopter's run out of gas.
I thought the private jet. Okay, all right.
I'm a helicopter.
But anyway, if people want to utilize your services, what do they need to do?
They could call 334-321-3000 or go to www.waltonlaw.net and check us out.
All right. Great show. Again, thank you for watching.
Enjoyed it.
We'll see you next time.
We don't start the fight, we finish it.
Car accident, DUI, wrongful death? Contact the Walton Law Firm, 334-321-3000.